I got this message the other day. It says, "Hey Tony, I'm 45. I've been coding for 20 years and I feel invisible." Am I done in tech? If you've ever felt this way, it's not your fault. But if you don't adapt, it will be. Because here's the hard truth: tech isn't leaving you behind unless you let it. Today, I'm breaking down exactly how devs over 40 can stay relevant, work smart, and build a career that lasts. So here's the deal. Tech companies love hiring younger devs. Fresh grads, no commitments, willing to pull in all-nighters just to prove themselves. We've all done it. We were all young ones, and honestly, I get it. Younger devs bring energy, hustle, and new ideas. But if you're over 40, you start hearing things like, you should be a manager by now, or are you keeping up with React or Vue, or worst of all, just silence, nothing. No callbacks, no interviews, just plain silence. And to top it off, your knees sound like bubble wrap and your back is not doing too well. It's aching all the time. And after a long day of coding, your hands feel like you're getting arthritis of some sort. But let me be clear. This video is not about bashing young devs. If anything, I respect the grind. Every dev starts somewhere, but let's be real. Tech moves fast, and if you're over 40, it can feel like you're being pushed aside just because of your age. But here's the thing. You don't have to compete on their terms because you've got something they don't: experience, decision-making, and efficiency. While younger devs are grinding through tutorials, you already know how to solve real problems. And if you're a younger dev watching this is good news for you too. Because today I'm not just talking about surviving tech after 40, I'm talking about how to build a career that lasts. So whether you're just starting out or you've been in the game for decades, stick around, because today I'm breaking down exactly how to flip the script. Stop competing and start playing the senior dev game. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why do tech companies prefer younger devs? Is it because they're faster, smarter, better at writing code? No, I don't think so. It's about cost and control. A fresh grad is excited to get their foot in the door. They'll take a lower salary, work late nights, and survive on free snacks in the break room. But scratch that. We all love free snacks, right? But you get what I mean. All because they think it's part of the grind. Meanwhile, the senior dev, you know your worth. You expect real pay, real benefits, and some damn work-life balance. And companies, they love cheap labor. Younger devs don't push back. They're still learning and excited to prove themselves. And that's not a bad thing. We were all there once, right? But after a while, you start to notice things, like how the architecture is held together with duct tape, or how every sprint is just chaos with a Jira ticket attached. And here's the thing. Some companies don't want questioning that. They want devs who'll just nod and code. They want devs who don't care about agile or burnout. They want lemmings. If a 24-year-old dev burns out, no problem. I mean, we got a fresh batch of boot camp grads waiting, right? But a seasoned dev, replacing you isn't that simple. You've got years of domain knowledge, system expertise, and leadership skills. That makes you less replaceable, but also more expensive. So now if you're a junior dev watching this isn't bad news for you. Actually, it's great news, because the more experience you gain, the more you start seeing how the game is played. And the sooner you can start making better career moves. And if you're an older dev, this only matters if you try to compete like a junior dev. If you're out here trying to grind LeetCode, chasing every new framework, trying to prove you still got it, you're playing the wrong game. Instead, you need to flip the script, play to your strengths. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. All right, let's talk about one of the biggest traps older devs fall into: trying to keep up with every new language, framework, and tool. So look, I get it. Tech moves fast, right? One day you're writing solid backend Java code logic. The next, some startup bro is telling you that, everything should be written in Rust now, for example. And if you push back, you get the classic response, oh, man, you just don't get it. This is the future. Yeah, sure. Just like Scala, Ruby on Rails, and Objective-C were the future, right? See, here's the thing. Languages change, but principles don't. If you understand system design, clean code, architecture, and systems integration, you can pick up any language. Because the real problems in tech, they aren't about syntax. They're about scalability. Can this handle 1 million users, or will it collapse under heavy load like my knees after leg day? So readability. Will future devs understand this, or will they need a translator? Maintainability. Can we actually build on this, or did we just create a tech debt time bomb? And then there's systems integration. Because at some point, every shiny new stack needs to talk to an old crusty system that refuses to die. And the next one is AI and automation are also changing the game. AI tools can write boilerplate code, but the real skill isn't just about coding. It's knowing what to automate, when to trust AI, and when to step in before it makes a mess. And here's the kicker. None of these problems are solved by learning yet another JavaScript framework. The moment you finally get comfortable with something, guess what? It's already outdated. In the early 2000s, it was all about Perl, Python, and PHP. Then came Ruby on Rails, then Node.js. Now it's Kotlin, Go, Rust, and whatever else is trending on Hacker News. Chasing languages, it's a losing game. But if you understand core principles, you don't have to chase. You just adapt. A junior dev starts by thinking in frameworks, which is totally normal. We've all been there. But as you gain experience, you start thinking in solutions. A junior dev asks, how do I build this in React? A senior dev says, forget the tool for a second. What's the actual problem here? What's the actual problem we're solving? It's not about who's better. It's about where you are in the journey. So every senior dev was once a junior, and every junior can become a senior faster by learning how to think beyond the tools. If you're over 40 and worried about being replaced, stop focusing on learning every new language. Get really good at architecture, debugging, and design patterns. Focus on communication, explaining tech to non-tech people. Learn how to simplify complexity, because at the end of the day, nobody cares if you know the latest hot framework. They care if you can deliver results. All right, let's be real. If you're a senior dev, you shouldn't be competing with juniors. You bring a completely different value to the table. While a junior dev is doing grunt work or trying to figure out why their async function keeps breaking, a senior dev is thinking 10 steps ahead. But this isn't about who's better. It's about who does what best. Juniors are in the building phase of their careers. They're absorbing knowledge, learning the fundamentals, and getting their hands dirty with code. Seniors have already been through that. They made mistakes, learned from them, adapted. Now their value isn't just about writing code. It's about helping teams build better, faster, and smarter. So instead of trying to keep up with younger devs, senior engineers should focus on skills that make them irreplaceable. A junior dev focuses on getting their code to work. A senior dev, however, focuses on why the code matters. A junior dev might write a function that passes the tests, but a senior dev asks, will this solution scale? How will it impact the system in 6 months? Is this the simplest way to solve the problem? That doesn't mean juniors don't think about this stuff. Doesn't mean they don't think about architectures. They're just still building that skill set. Seniors, on the other hand, have years of experience spotting patterns and knowing what works. They also have the responsibility of helping juniors grow into future senior developers, senior engineers. And that's not something ChatGPT can replace. Let's be honest, most projects are a mess. Documentation is outdated, even if it exists. Half the APIs were built by someone who left years ago. There are mystery functions that nobody dares to touch. Juniors get overwhelmed in this kind of environment. Seniors, we thrive in it because after years in the trenches, you develop an internal debugging compass. You know how to reverse engineer bad code, write effective mocks for, some untestable external dependencies, read between the lines of old Jira tickets and get things moving fast. That's a skill that only comes with time. Here's something most companies don't talk about. Senior devs aren't just engineers. They are force multipliers. When a junior dev gets stuck, they turn to Google, ChatGPT, and Stack Overflow, sometimes for hours. When a senior dev gets stuck, they know how to ask the right questions and where to get the best answers faster. But even more than that, they mentor. A good senior dev doesn't just solve problems, they teach others how to solve them. They make sure their team understands the reasoning behind decisions and shares their thought process openly. That makes you more valuable than any single piece of code you write. Help juniors get unstuck faster, improve the team's overall efficiency, become the person leadership relies to keep things running. That's way more valuable than just writing code. And here's the secret. The best senior devs make their entire team look good without needing to take credit for it. Well, maybe just a few RSUs when the time comes, but kidding, not kidding. Soft skills separate senior devs from replaceable ones. It's not just about code. It's about how you explain complex problems to non-technical people or push back on bad ideas without making enemies. Convince leadership to give your team the time they actually need. Juniors are still developing these skills, and they learn from you. They're watching you every step. Seniors have had years of practice, and here's the thing. AI can generate code, but it can't lead a meeting. It can't negotiate a deadline. It can't stop a manager from making a terrible decision. If you can do that, you're untouchable. Juniors get excited about building things from scratch. Seniors know when to build, when to buy, and when to run the other way. They ask, is this problem even real? Are we over-engineering, or how will this scale? Or is there an existing tool that does the job instead? Tech isn't just about what you build. It's about what to avoid wasting time on. Seniors think like architects, not just developers. If you're over 40, you don't need to outcode a 22-year-old or a 25-year-old who's been grinding LeetCode for 6 months straight. You just need to see the bigger picture and make better decisions. But this isn't just for senior devs. If you're a junior dev, this is your roadmap. Juniors and seniors aren't all that different. They're just different points along a shared path. At the end of the day, tech doesn't need more coders. It needs more problem solvers. And that applies no matter where you are in your career. Tech moves fast, too fast. One day you're writing solid backend logic in Java. The next, some startup founder is on stage claiming AI is replacing developers, and your LinkedIn feed is flooded with posts about how you should drop everything and learn Rust, Web3, or whatever new tech is trending this week. It's exhausting. If you've been in this industry long enough, you've probably had that moment where you wonder, am I even keeping up anymore? But here's the truth. You don't have to. The developers who actually last in this industry are the ones who learn to control what they can and ignore the noise. You can't control the industry, but you can control your skills. Tech layoffs, new frameworks every 6 months, AI writing code. None of that is in your hands. What is in your hands is how you adopt. Companies will always chase the next big thing, but you can focus on learning the principles that outlast trends. AI will automate tasks, but you can learn how to use it as a tool rather than fear it. Layoffs happen, but if you build skills that make you valuable anywhere, you'll always have options. Instead of chasing every new technology, focus on the skills that will always be relevant. Problem solving, because frameworks change, but business problems don't. Communication, because the best engineers aren't just great at coding, they're great at explaining stuff. systems engineer and architecture, because businesses need scalable solutions, not just code. If you focus on these, you won't have to keep up. You'll already be ahead. You can't control ageism, but you can control how you show up. It's no secret that tech favors younger devs. Startups want hungry engineers willing to grind in late nights for low pay, right? Companies assume that after a certain age, you should already be in management or moving on. I mean, you can't control hiring biases. You can't control how companies think, but you can control how you present yourself. Keep your network strong. The best jobs come from real relationships, not job boards. I mean, look at LinkedIn, right? And the other thing is stay visible. Speak up at meetups. I mean, write long blog posts, right? Share your expertise. You don't need to chase every new tool, but stay informed enough to have a conversation about it to someone instead of, worrying about being too old for tech. Because here's a fact. Companies don't need coders. They need problem solvers who can navigate complexity. I mean, you can't control every job market shift, but you can control your career's direction. The market goes up, the market goes down, tech is hiring, tech is laying off. This cycle never ends. The best engineers don't chase stability in jobs. They create stability in themselves. Learn skills that apply across industries, not just, the one stack. Position yourself as a leader, not just a developer. Build a portfolio that proves your value beyond a resume. And most importantly, play the long game. A career isn't about being the best at today's hot framework. It's about staying valuable for decades. I mean, let's be real. Coding at 40 plus, I mean, it hits different than it did in your 20s. I mean, back then you could pull an all-nighter, survive on energy drinks, coffee, and debug until sunrise, and it wouldn't even affect you, right? Now, I mean, sitting too long wrecks your back, standing too long wrecks your knees. You can't win. After a long day of coding, your hands feel like they're running a pre-release version of arthritis, and it's not just physical. I mean, the emotional toll kicks in too. At some point, you're asking yourself, do I still belong in this field? Am I falling behind? Do I really need to learn another JavaScript framework? So here's the truth. Aging in tech is a different game. But that doesn't mean you can't keep it up. You just have to adapt. Your body is a code base. If you don't maintain it, it breaks. Sitting for hours wrecks your back, shoulders, and wrists. Sleep deprivation doesn't make you tired, it tanks your focus. Strength training and stretching, yeah, they're not just for athletes. I mean, they keep you functional. No one's saying you need to become a gym rat, but if you didn't take care of yourself, your body will become a bottleneck. And here's the thing. Energy management beats time management. In your 20s, you had infinite energy. In your 40s, your 50s, you have to spend it wisely. I mean, schedule your deep work when you're actually, most productive. Take real breaks. Staring at Twitter doesn't count. I mean, walk, stretch, step away. And while you're at it, I mean, look at the sky for a few minutes. I mean, your eyes need a break too, right? And let's be real. You don't want another visit to the eye doctor for a new prescription. Trust me. And the other thing is learn to say no. Not every request is urgent and not every problem is yours to solve. Your brain is your best tool. Protect it. At this stage, your value isn't in how much code you write. It's in the decisions you make. Think long term. Your job isn't just to push code. It's to build things that last. New tech always emerges. You don't need to learn everything. You just need to stay adaptable and know what really matters. Aging in tech isn't a death sentence, but it does require a mindset shift. Take care of your body so it doesn't limit your career. Protect your energy because burnout is real. Shift your focus from grinding out code to solving bigger problems. You don't need to work harder, you need to work smarter. So, can you still compete in tech as a software dev after 40? Absolutely. And here's why. Aging in tech isn't a problem. It's an advantage if you know how to play the game. You don't need to outcode younger devs. You just need to think differently, more strategically, more long-term. The ones who last in this industry aren't the ones who chase every new framework. They're the ones who can focus on principles, not trends. They manage their energy, not just their time, and they solve problems, not just write code. Because at the end of the day, the industry will keep changing. New frameworks will keep coming, AI will keep evolving, but the skills that actually matter, they never go out of demand. If you're over 40 and still coding, you're not outdated, you're battle tested. So keep building, keep leading, because tech still needs you. Now, I want to hear from you. If you're over 40, what's been the biggest challenge in tech? If you're under 40, what do you think your career will look like when you get there? Drop a comment below, and if you found this video helpful, smash that like button and subscribe, because the next time we're talking about the biggest career trap devs fall into and how to avoid them. And I'll see you on the next one.